Welcome to Music and Mind, the interview series where I, Adam Ficek, speak with leading musicians about the intersection of music and mental health. Today, I'm joined by Thom Rylance. Hi, Thom.
Hello, mate. I am currently rejigging my studio around because it's a mess, because I've got ADHD, and so everything is everywhere. And then like once every year, I'll do like a big intense clean. And so that's now.
What kind of ways does ADHD impact you as a musician?
I don't know. I was thinking about that today, actually, because I've never medicated it. And it's something that I've been like considering. But like I was lying in bed this morning and I was thinking like 12 different things. And one of them happened to be this song that I've been struggling with for a while. And one of the things I was thinking was the song, which meant that I rushed here at 8 this morning and recorded it and got it right. So I don't know if I'd want to like take away, like people say it's my superpower. Like I don't know if I'd want to take away my superpower in exchange for all the terrible things like impulsive spending and being messy and never being on time and all that. Yeah, I think I've kind of learned how to channel mine a little bit and like hyper focusing and all things like that, which are part of it. I've managed to be able to do that into recordings and songwriting, and like I think I can think a lot on my feet a lot of the time when I'm on stage because I'm used to thinking about loads of different things at the same time. So yeah.
How do you think, kind of, we flip that, how does their music help this sense of impulsivity?
Well, it gives me a focus point, that's for sure. Like I will just get lost in this room. I'm in my studio at the moment. I'll get lost in here for hours and hours and hours on end, and I don't even realize where the time's gone sometimes. So it keeps me out of trouble.
What about kind of on a bigger picture? What do you find for you to be the most enjoyable aspects of, say, the music industry?
I love being on stage. I feel like an alien kind of all the time in my life, except when I'm on stage, which I think some people think might be strange because people say to me, oh, how do you do it? How do you get up on stage and be so confident? It's like, well, I don't know, but I don't even know who the guy is that gets up on stage who looks exactly like me, but I'm just thankful that he does every time and he's never not turned up. But like, I know that in those times I feel totally free. And so I really love doing gigs and performing and being on tour with my mates. And
what elements are the most important to you when you're on that stage?
If you want me to be honest, it's probably affirmation, really, because I think that, like, you know, growing up with undiagnosed ADHD and like getting kicked out of schools for it, like twice, and then, you know, being removed from friend groups and always feeling like a bit of a bad egg or like a bad person because I didn't fit into like the school environment or stuff like that, like to be literally clapped at. Like I think it's the affirmation of it all. To be honest, that's probably what I like showing off and people pay me attention.
Yeah, it resonates. I think what you're talking about, the schooling there. Yeah, where for some of us that system doesn't really work with how we are, and then we find music. What about identity growing up? How important was music for you there?
I think music kind of like, and I worry that this has changed actually, but certainly when I was growing up, then what music you like really culturally defined like who you were. So like if you liked rock music, then you'd dress a certain way and you'd hang out with certain people, and if you liked rap music, then you dress a certain way, and or dance music or whatever. And I'm not sure it's like that now, and I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but you know, like, where are the goths these days? Like, because music is so accessible these days, people kind of just listen to anything and everything, and that is probably great, but maybe we do lack some of the cultural identity that I certainly had as a kid when I found Nirvana, you know, and then that changed everything about me. And like from the way that I dressed to everything, the way that I thought, you know. I wonder if that still happens now. I don't know. Maybe I sound old. Where are the goths?
I agree. I think that tribalism, I think those cultural little hubs that we have growing up are so important. And I think to an extent that's been shifted maybe into a slightly different area. What was it about that particular group or their ethos or what they attracted you into?
I don't really know. I just really fell in love hard with Nirvana. It's happened a few times in my life that I know are significant. When I was very young, I found Queen. Like, my dad used to like Queen, and then he had some like videotapes of Queen live at Wembley, and I just watched it back and forward, like every night, just wore it out. And I think it was like seeing Freddie Mercury on stage with all those people, just like, encapsulated by him. That was intriguing to me. I was just like, wow, I want to do that one day. And, it was really, really important to me. And then later on, I kind of found Nirvana, and maybe I had some teenage angst and I needed to expel that in a way. And then a couple of years later, it was the Smiths. And when I found the Smiths, and, it felt like Morrissey was literally talking about me in the songs, then that completely defined who I was as well. So yeah, I think music has been so incredibly important in my development as a person.
Both of those two figureheads were outsiders. They were, you mentioned about feeling alien earlier. I think they both do provide this sense of being an outsider, but also having this appeal, having this adoration that people can look up to. Do you think that it's more to do with the image, the lyrics, or the music itself, which was a draw for those two?
Well, with the Smiths, certainly the lyrics. I think that's where I kind of realized that the lyrics were incredibly important, and that you can really express yourself through that, and it's poetry. And not taking anything away from Kurt Cobain, I think he's an incredible lyricist, but maybe with Nirvana it was more the angsty music at the time that I found them that I needed. But I am a very, very, I really think lyrics are very important, and I hope that I convey that in my own songwriting.
In your own songwriting, what's the most important aspect? Is it lyrically? Is it the actual, the music, the harmony, the rhythm? Or you might not give much consideration to it, but is it the ethos, the image of the band? Because all three of those components kind of come into the branding, as it were.
Yeah, I suppose it is. And to be honest, when I write songs, I just write from the heart, and I don't try and dissect it too much or try and like give it an equation that's like, oh, this is going to be a successful pop song. I just kind of let it naturally be what it is. Because when I've tried in the past to like tick boxes or formulate it, it's never worked. I think there's nothing worse than like a disingenuous song, and I can see right through it when I hear one. So I wouldn't like to put anything like that out. So although like we do write pop songs with pop hooks, it's never kind of manufactured it's because that felt right. So lyrics are very important to me. As for image, like I think I gave up on that a long time ago with our band. Like we don't really look like other bands, and so we just be ourselves. And if that's kind of working, then that's good. But like, I know that I'm not like some model guy that like maybe perhaps you see in other bands, and that's not my appeal. I don't think that I'm really going to appeal to like teenage girls, for instance. But I don't know. Maybe I don't really want to. Like, we've kind of like when we came up with a plan of how we were going to do the next few years, a few years ago, when Tristan, our producer, decided to start managing us, we really thought about the people that we wanted to like our music. And I suppose you can't really decide that, but we decided that we were going to try and do some support slots with bands that we really liked, that had perhaps like an older fan base. So we supported Shed 7 and Sleeper and Frank Turner on tour, and then we found that those people really responded well to us. But when we've done gigs to like teenagers, although they all seem to be having a really good time, I don't know if it's as consistent. I think that like maybe I don't want to like slag off kids. I sound so old. But, you know, I've found that from doing gigs, the people that are really listening are the older ones, and the people that are filming it for their Instagram stories are like younger ones. And that's cool, like whatever, like however you want to enjoy it. But for me, I just feel like we get appreciated more by the older fan base.
What do you think it is about that?
Oh, I think that's because of the way that music's changed and how accessible it is now. And maybe like when they were in their formative years and they found all the bands they loved, then you would support those bands more like you would like a football club. You know, you'd rush out and buy the record and you'd queue for it, and it would be an important thing to have and to listen to. Whereas now, I think, although there's a lot of music and that's never going to be a bad thing, it's kind of like a bit more passive and a bit more like, I don't want to say disposable, but it kind of does feel like that. Like you have these cycles of like, you know, you might hit one of the big Spotify playlists for a week, and then you're on there and then all the numbers go up, and it's kind of passive listening. Like, are people actually, is it going to relate? Is it going to translate to people coming to your shows and buying your merch and whatever? I don't know. But yeah, it wasn't really like that back then. So I think that is why the older demographic I don't know, they just seem to get it more. I think music was more important to people that are a little bit older.
Yeah, it does seem to be more transient, even from my career. And predominantly most of the stuff or the music I play on this show is more retro stuff. I think there's a different essence to it. And maybe that's a cultural trend as well, which might shift, who knows. But quite interested also in the Anxiety Replacement album. What's underneath that?
Oh, it was I was having a bad time, to be honest. I was in a bit of a hole when I started writing that album. Just a lot going on, and like throughout, it's kind of like chronologically written, and throughout that time I decided to medicate my depression and anxiety with sertraline, and there's a song literally called Sertraline, which is kind of like the turning point of the record. And so, like by accident, really, I only realized it afterwards that it starts off and all the subject matters are quite sad. And then it's kind of like a bit of my recovery throughout that year. And, you know, towards the end, it does get a lot lighter. And writing the songs really is how I get it out, how I get those emotions out. So anxiety replacement therapy kind of came to me as I was writing one. I was like, oh, this really is like my therapy. And then I was like, okay, and that acronym is ART, right? I'm a genius. That's going to sell on T-shirts. And it didn't really.
Were you ever aware that there is support for musicians out there?
No, not really. I can't say that I have been, but I think sometimes it's hard to even reach out, isn't it? Sometimes when you're like in a really bad spot, like you don't even have that in your brain that says, okay, this is bad and I need help. Like it's hard to even get to that point. So I think that hopefully I'm kind of more aware of it now, and certainly my friends, like my band, like that is my family. They are the people closest to me, and they can recognize when I'm not doing so well. And we're really open, and we talk to each other about kind of it. And yeah, so maybe in the future I might need to, you know.
I think that what you're saying is correct. For many people, it's not an easy thing to do, and it doesn't always work. So brings me on to another area. What do you think are the most negative aspects about being in a commercial touring band?
Well, you know, I'm never going to moan about it because this is my, you know, dream job. It really is. But if I am going to moan about it for a second, like, you know, years of financial insecurity can be very stressful. A lot of time away from your home and family. Anytime you do kind of like a creative thing where you put everything you have into something and then put it out in a public arena, you are opening yourself up to criticism and negativity, and that hurts. Like I could have 1,000 nice comments, and then if there's one that's bad, then that is the one that'll resonate, and that is the one that will ring through my ears as I'm, going to bed at night. So I think I think that may be part of ADHD as well, like having a sensitivity to rejection. But like, I am literally putting myself in the position to be rejected on quite a large scale. And we had years of rejection as well. And that was really tough. We're 15 years in now, and I'd say it's only just starting to get to a good place. It's been a struggle for a long time. We've been dropped from record labels, kicked off tours. Like, we've had some real tough times that have been hard to kind of get up from. But we always did. We always have.
Yeah, and an interesting theme about some of the people I've been speaking to in this series is kind of positive, the development of resilience, because to be a musician anyway, to get up every day and to play an instrument takes resilience, commitment, dedication. To then superimpose that within a commercial industry and all the knockbacks takes resilience.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it still hurts, and I think it always will, but you've just got to keep going, I think, because if you believe in it, and I do, and I know we do, then that's the most important thing. But like, there's always the what do they call it, imposter syndrome thing. Like, that happens quite a lot, where I'll be doing a big gig, and before I'm thinking, well, what if this is awful? Why is everyone here? Like, have I tricked people into buying this record? Like, why did it get number one? This is weird. Like, there's always those thoughts, and you'll always have those kind of intrusive thoughts. But fundamentally, we do really believe in what we do.
And believing in music is a huge solace for us all as well, I think.
Yeah, definitely. My favorite thing to do is just like, when we're doing a gig, I look around the audience and I just see so many people smiling, and for me, it's just like overwhelming, and to just be like providing just a little bit of joy to somebody. Like, and it sounds cheesy, but that's so important to me, to just, because I've been there in an audience grinning, and like, if I can, and I know how that feels to be like a part of something and connecting. And so like, if I can provide that, or we can provide that, that is just like the most important thing to me. I absolutely love it. I think that's why I love playing so much.
And you used the term "we" there. Is that collective, that camaraderie, another important element for you?
Yeah, definitely. Like, we are almost more than a family, really, because we've been through all these experiences, and it's quite a unique relationship. Like, I think that we are just so close, and I think there's very few people in the world, certainly for me, that I can be like my total authentic self with, like, that there isn't some kind of character that I'm playing, like, and those three idiots and me, I really can be myself with, and I'm not worried about judgment, and I know that it's kind of unconditional love, and it goes, four ways between us all. So, but don't tell them I'm being nice about them.
Of course. What about some of the conflict and tension? Do you find that if you're all touring together, there is the inevitable conflict and stuff? Yeah,
of course. We get on each other's nerves, but we've never had an argument that's lasted longer than a minute. Like, we will fall out very briefly, and then we'll just end up kind of laughing about it, or just, it passes very quickly. We'll have a hug, and we've been through so much. I think that's so special that we've managed to, like, four of us find each other, because I think if anybody did want to, like, be in a touring band, the most important thing is that you like the people you're doing it with, because you spend so much time in close proximity. It's just impossible that you would be able to do it without that.
What has helped that? What's kept you all glued together?
I think just like the belief in ourselves and a common goal, and the expression of our, it's all of our anxiety replacement therapy, like doing these, like, it gives us a purpose. Like, this whole thing is our purpose, and we never ever, all four of us have never had a plan B. It's only been plan A. There's never, like, we quit our jobs way too early to focus on this, and made it like very difficult for us to survive, but managed to. None of us are kind of come from money. None of our parents are rich. It's just like, we've had to graft this whole time, and everything that we've got is from really working hard for 15 years. And yeah, so I think that's just like bound us together. I love them.
Yeah, I can hear that sense of community there and meaning involved in the same meaning framework, which is an incredibly powerful factor. Do you think there's a difficulty now more so in regards to class making it in the music industry, that overlap?
I don't want to like get in trouble, but yeah, I do. I think that a lot of the artists that do well either come from money, or I think there is an element of nepotism, probably in all aspects, all walks of life. But I see a lot of artists doing really well that have a lot of money in the bank. And I see a lot of artists that don't have a lot of money in the bank really struggling, even though I think that the art that they make is as good, at least. Yeah. You know, if you want my careful answer. Yeah, we didn't know what we were going to do, and we had to find ways. You know, we were playing in pubs and like running jam nights and just doing anything that we could just to live and to fund the band. We only ever called the band the Lottery Winners, ironically, because we just had no money and we were like borrowing gear ooff everybody. And like, it's a terrible choice now. I wish we'd have called it something cooler, but it's way too late.
Quite good for the National Lottery. You never know, you could do a tie-in.
Yeah, well, I've never put the lottery on, because I've always said that the first time I do it, I'm going to win, because the headline just writes itself. It's never felt like the right time.
Are there particular pieces of music that you lean in towards listening when you're in a certain mood?
Yeah, absolutely. I've got like, if I'm feeling happy in summary, I'll put on Graceland by Paul Simon. You know, like that's my good mood record. And then, you know, if I'm really feeling down, then I don't know. I think the saddest song ever is "I Know It's Over" by the Smiths, and that is something that like I'll put on repeat and just listen to, and that's, you know, to listen to the saddest song in the world when you're feeling sad doesn't make me sadder; it makes me feel better. Like, so yeah, I've got a bunch of music that, and it always relates to feelings or nostalgia or moments in your life, doesn't it? Like you have a record and it makes you think about a time in your life, and I really love that. It's kind of like autobiographical, your record collection, isn't it?
Thanks for listening to Music and Mind with me, Adam Ficek. Make sure you check out the Tonic Music website for free groups, workshops and courses for both music fans and those in the industry.